Hi friends, my name is Shahana Sengupta and I think the live FB live has started. Yes, it has started. Okay. So as you have seen the announcement, today's topic is about composition and writing and also how you would like to deal with the composition section of the English question paper. I'm not talking about any particular class as such. I am talking about all the classes, let's say starting from class 3, 4 onwards, when you actually have to write a little longer for your composition sections. Okay, so before I begin, let me first give a hearty, warm welcome to all of you for joining me today. And thank you so much. Thanks a lot for showing so much love and so much support and encouraging me so much through my announcements. Like whenever I posted any announcement or there was any announcement from the Crayon Slip page, there was so much of encouragement and likes and comments and good wishes. Thank you so much for all that. So today's topic, as you have seen in the announcements, is that we have I'm covering four topics mainly. First is how to deal with composition section of the question paper, of the English question paper, how to write essays. And by essays, I don't really mean only essays. I actually would like to cover a bigger range, as in all the long answer questions, all the long compositions. So, essays, compositions, stories, short stories, all that. Then, how to make children fall in love with writing. So, some children are like some of my students, they already love writing. They are absolutely in love with the whole concept of expressing their thoughts and their ideas. But then I do have some other students who are not that keen on writing, and their parents keep complaining, "Ma'am, what do I do? She doesn't want to write. Ma'am, what do I do? He just leaves the answer in between." Thing is, the problem is not with the child. The problem is in the habit of writing. So every child has a particular habit, a tendency, liking, disliking. So it's actually very normal to for a child to not like writing. But then even that problem has a solution, like every problem do. And also help children who are reluctant writers, just like I said. So reluctant writers, by reluctant writers I mean children who don't like to write so much. Even if you give them their favorite topic, they will be like, okay, why do I have to write? Why can't I just speak about it? So starting with the importance of composition. Why did I, first of all, for my first FB live, why did I choose this subject? Why did I choose this topic? That is because composition, there is a particular reason why examiners have always kept this section in your question paper. The reason behind this is to see whether a child is able to write properly, is able to express his or her thoughts, his or her process of thinking, thought process, I mean, whether a child is able to express it through writing, express it through the use of language. That is a reading passage. The child doesn't have much scope to express his or her own thought, and for because there you have one passage and the child just has to fish out the answers and produce them. But and also for the literature section and the grammar section, there is very little option left for the child to express his or her ideas and flair for writing, all that. So somehow the composition section brings out that talent in a child. So actually, if you look at it in this way, that the composition section is actually a good thing. It's the best place. It's the way a child, a teacher or a parent can nurture a child's interest in writing, or also help the child in giving a voice to the child. To like express his or her own thought, because tomorrow when the child grows up and faces the world, then he would be at a lack of words or a lack of expressions to put forth his views. So a composition section actually prepares a child for the future. The first topic is how to approach the composition section. Okay, at the first look of it, it looks like a giant, and we feel like a little David in front of the Goliath. So, but then that is not the case. It is if we make the child realize that this is the best section of the question paper, where it is up to you how you want to impress the examiner, what you want to say, then probably down the line, and I'm sure this will happen, that the child will love to attend that part of the question paper first, because that is the time when the child has some sort of a freeway. Yeah, the child can take it in the direction that he or she wants. So that will be, and no, who doesn't love a little bit of control, right? So that is where the child has control over the question paper, over the exam. So the composition section should not be like what school teachers have given and the child does that and the end. No, I have a suggestion for every parents watching right now and later, that make your child write something or the other on a very regular basis. It could be a daily basis or it could be every alternate day, but it should be that only. Like the gap shouldn't be more than that. And even if something comes by surprise, then the child would not be so shocked, not so taken aback, but rather the child would want to think and want to at least give it a try, that let me see how I want to, how I can write this. So it's always good to make a child write something on a daily basis. um Coming to the composition section, let me just break it down, like what all is there in a composition section. Basically, in the composition section, we have essays, short stories, formal letter, informal letter, article, report, speech, debate, picture composition, process writing, views and opinions, narrative paragraphs. These are the long answer questions. These generally carry around 10 to 20 marks. And the short answer questions that are in the composition section are like poster, notice, invitation, things like those. They are the short answer questions which generally carry 4 to 6 marks. So these are some of the things that we generally see in the composition section of the question paper. Now, how do we deal with these? So, for example, for essays and short stories, that I will cover in the next few minutes, how to write them, how to work around them. For things like formal letter and informal letter, it is very important that we keep the format in mind, because formats carry a lot of marks. And if you go through my blog, the link I will share again. I have shared it before. I will share it again. I have written some blog posts on letter writing. I have covered CBSE board and ICSE board. There are some sample letters also, and the marking scheme is also there. So if you go through them, then you can see that what are the marking schemes, and that the formats also carry a lot of marks. They do have a certain weightage. But what's more important in any kind of composition, including formal letter and informal letter, is the presentation. Is the content and the expression, how a child expresses what he or she wants to say in a letter, even in a formal letter. So that is where we have most of the marks. So it is very important that we make sure that for letter writing, we have the format in place. And of course, content and expression, I will come to it later. But as of now, I'm just talking about the format. So the format has to be very well understood and remembered. Then we have article writing and report writing. Again, they also have a certain format, which is fairly easier than letter writing. So that also has to be kept in mind. Then we have speech writing. Speech writing is again something where we don't really need a format or something, but yes, we have to have a welcome note, because if it's a speech, it is meant to be delivered on stage. And so why is it part of a composition section, isn't it? Like if it is meant to be delivered on a stage. So let's say your child goes on to stage and has to deliver a speech. Who will write a speech for him or her? He himself has to do it, right? So that is where speech writing, practicing speech writing comes handy. So there has to be a format for that also, which is you have to have a welcome note, and then you also have to have a conclusion wherein you thank everyone for listening to you. So that is the format of speech writing. Then we have debate. Now, there's something very important about debates that I want to share with you guys, which is sometimes out of enthusiasm or the love of writing, some students they go ahead and write both sides of the argument. So for that can be done in an argumentative essay, but not in a debate. In a debate, you have to have either you go in favor of the motion. There is a motion, and either you go in favor of that motion or you go against the motion. So whatever you choose, you have to stick to it. You cannot go like once you're talking in favor of the motion and then again you're talking about talking against the motion. You cannot do that, because then that will reduce your marks. That will lead to negative marking. So please do not if your child likes writing, loves writing, or the child finds a topic which is very close to his or her heart, then please ask your child to stick to the stand that he or she is taking. No matter how much he or she is well versed with the topic, still if it is a debate, then one has to stick to the stand. Like if it is in favor, then one has to be in favor throughout the debate. If it is against the motion, then the child has to write against the motion throughout the debate. All right, the next thing that is there is picture composition. Now, this is something very interesting. If you look at it in this way, it's very interesting where there is a picture, and like the saying goes, a picture can speak 1,000 words. So a picture can also generate 1,000 words. But over here, we don't have to write 1,000 words, thankfully. We have to write according to what the question paper has asked us, which is usually around max to max 350 to 400 words, but then for lower classes it is not so much. It is around 100 to 150 words. So in picture composition, there can be many interpretations of a picture. So it is always good that a child understands the picture first. And since it is a picture, so a child's tendency, and not only a child's tendency, it's basic human tendency that we look at the picture first and then we go for any written part, any written stuff. We actually look at the pictures first. So that is a very human nature. So how can a child be any different from that? So if the child wants to work on the picture composition first, then please let her do it. Please don't ask her to do something else first and then the picture, because then the mind will always be on that picture. What is that picture? What is showing on that picture? How will I write it? Are some of the questions that a child keeps thinking even while writing some other answer. So it is always good to attend the picture composition first, and before she starts writing the picture composition, it is very important that the child understands what the picture is trying to say. Sometimes, as I told you, that a picture can have many interpretations. So the child must stick to the interpretation that she is getting from the picture, that she is deriving from that picture. So the child has to stick to that interpretation, because then otherwise, if the child starts to find any inner meaning or any hidden meaning, then probably she will lose some time in that, and exams don't give extra time for that. So we have a limited time in exams, so it is better that whatever interpretation you get from that picture, please work around that. Okay, now how to go about picture compositions, I will explain later, like what to write. That will come in the second section of the topic today. Okay, process writing. Process writing again has a format, and usually the formats are given by the school teachers. So the formats that the school teacher gives your child, gives you, has to be the one that you will use, no matter what any website is saying, or any suggestive paper, suggestive question paper, or suggestive answers are saying. But please stick to the format that your school teacher is giving you, and because that is how you can fetch maximum marks. So for process writing also, there's a particular format that has to be followed. And since process writing is about how you make something, the step-by-step order So it is very important that we maintain those steps. So that is something which one has to remember in process writing. It is very, very important that only like step 2 can only come after step 1. And usually a child, while like the mistakes that I see in process writing